I'm going to show you how to analyze a wholesale deal. We're going to start by running comparable sales and creating a cash offer, all inside REIPro. So here I've jumped into a property in REIPro that I've saved to the system. Currently in executable step number 4, where we're going to run comparable sales. Now, obviously, you want to look at properties that have actually sold, not pending sales or what somebody's asking for a property. In order to determine the proper ARV, which is the after repaired value, you have to look at what actually sold. So as we look at the map, if you scroll down, you're going to see all the properties that have sold within a certain time frame. The first thing you might want to do is actually come up to the filter. Here we can start excluding different types of properties that aren't really relevant when running comparable sales. You can also change the bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet, and year built, as well as the lot size and how far back are we actually looking to run comps. My recommendation is let's go back the last 6 months. You can also display all comps or separate MLS sold comps versus just a for sale by owner that had sold that's just recorded in the county. Then you can apply those filters. I've already done this for you just to speed up the process. Here I've selected my comps. One of the key things that I look for is square footage. Square footage is the number one thing you should start to look for since everything is based off a cost per square foot. Now, once I've selected my comps, I've determined my after repaired value would be $278,000. Now, once I run my comparable sales, I'm going to simply come up and click cash offer. Now that after repaired value has carried over. I've also already filled in the majority of information here, but let's quickly walk through it. The first thing you want to determine is, are you wholesaling the property or are you just rehabbing the property, meaning that you found the property and you're going to buy it? The first thing that I look at is the acquisition expense. What's the cost when we actually acquire or buy this property? There's obviously going to be a closing with the seller. We want to enter that dollar amount. Next would be the repair expense. Obviously, you've done an inspection, you've looked at the property, and you've estimated the amount of repairs. Next is what I call the hedge expense. This is nothing more than a buffer in case your repair analysis was figured incorrectly. I personally like to use 10% of my repair expense. Next is an estimated holding expense and holding time. Below that is the agent commission. Now, if the seller isn't using an agent, that's not what we're talking about because sellers always pay the commission anyways. This example is if you wholesaled the property to a new buyer, the new buyer then fixed up the property and then used an agent to sell the property. Now, a lot of times as a wholesaler, you're not going to know this. And this is the reason why I want you to go ahead and add that expense before we actually make the offer. Now below that is what we call closing costs. So if you wholesaled the property to another investor, that investor fixed up the property and then sold it, that particular investor would have more closing costs. Of course, we want to throw this estimated cost in prior to making the offer. A lot of people fail to add the cost of selling the property before they buy it, and this is a huge mistake. And it's irrelevant if the new investor rents the property out for 2 years. At some point, they're going to sell it. You can add in any back taxes, HOAs, any kind of other dues that may be due on the property, any kind of personal advertising expense you may use to actually find a actual rehabber, and any other expenses, go ahead and add them here. Now I'm going to scroll up to the very top right where I'm going to start to put in my fee as a wholesaler. Now this you may have to start playing around with depending on how motivated the seller is, what asking price are they looking for, and so on. Next, you need to estimate the rehabber's actual profit. I like to use 15% as a starting point. You may need to move this number in different directions, just depends on the investor you're selling it to. Now below, you're going to see the cash offer summary. Number one, you're going to see the after repaired value minus your total expenses, minus your wholesaler profit, minus your rehabber profit. That's going to give you the maximum cash offer. Now that just so happens to be 48.2% of the ARV. We then like to start that particular offer a couple percent below that just to leave some negotiating room. Now here you're going to enter a starting offer, and maybe you just go a little bit below that. And what I like to do is actually make that number kind of funny. Don't make it 130,000. When you put a funny number in just like this, people are going to say there must be a reason why it came to that particular number. Now I can save this, view, print it. I can actually email the seller, and let's go get this offer accepted. Now remember, your maximum cash offer based on what it's worth minus the repairs minus your potential profits is your maximum cash offer, which would be 134. So you do have a little bit of wiggle room, but at the end of the day, look, the numbers don't lie. And if the numbers don't work, it's not a deal. And this is exactly how we would analyze a wholesale deal. Hey, thanks for watching, and be sure to like. Also, if you're a real estate investor, or maybe you're looking to jump into the real estate investing game, REIPro is your complete game changer. From lead generation, systems, direct mail, skip tracing, and all the education you're ever going to need to successfully execute this business. And by far, that is the number one thing that holds everybody back. It's about executing the business. You can start a free trial by going to our website at www.myreipro.com and look forward to seeing you on the other side.